Say yes to new beginnings.
Yes.
Say yes to new standards of excellence.
Yes.
Say yes to engaging reportage with a difference.
Yes.
Introducing Yes International Magazine.
I said, well, I'm still in the mess. I'm still not out of it. He said, really? He said, so what can we do? I didn't know what to say. So he said, okay, do you want your job back? I said, which job? He said, your job at Hints. I said, if you give me my job back, I'll take it. That would be a big lifeline for me at this stage. So he said, okay, so you come back to Hints. We'll take it from there. But you have to come on Monday. I think that was a Friday. I went to him, and then I would have arranged for some of your colleagues to be here with me. Then we'll talk about it, and you can go back to your job. And when I was leaving, he asked me, he said, how did you get here? I said, I took public transport. He said, you don't have a car? I said, a car. I don't have a car. Which car? He said, okay, I'll have to arrange for a car for you. So I left. And I came back on Monday and we sorted it out. And that week he bought me a new car, And so when I give the glory to God for bringing me out of that crisis, I must also acknowledge the role that Dr. Ibe Kachiku played.
Wow. So in all of these, what would you say was the greatest lesson that you took away from what Dr. Ibe Kachiku did for you?
I learned a big lesson in forgiveness. I learned to be able to absorb things. I learned not to hold things against people. These are the lessons I learned, and I learned to forgive. From him, I learned that because now that I'm much older, people step on me all the time, and I just laugh and look away, because when I remember the things that I did to some people, and they still took me in and helped me out. No. I learned that lesson. I learned that lesson from that experience.
Now, this is your call. I know you, like you said, he said the mess was so much back then. Office work, marital mess, and so. Would you like to talk about what happened after the collapse of your first marriage and when you went into the second one that was more or less like crisis reading at that initial stage before everything eventually got stabilized? Would you like to talk about it?
Yeah, the first marriage collapsed largely because of the crisis in which I found myself. And quite honestly, if one takes a look at what happened at that time, I wouldn't even blame anybody. I would blame myself for it. Of course, I was here in Lagos. My ex-wife went back to Abeokuta with the 2 kids, and I was alone here. No sense of direction. I didn't know what to do with my life. I didn't know what to do with myself. And let me tell you something, Azu, when you find yourself in that kind of situation, that is when you will know that you do not have friends, that you will be able to identify who your true friends are. I discovered that although I was the popular editor who had a lot of people around me and who was celebrated whenever I entered into places, at that point, nobody wanted to be seen with me. Nobody. So it was that tough. No job, no source of income, no wife, no children. At the point in time, I lost my accommodation. I was living in the Dolu estate. I couldn't pay the rent. I was evicted. There were debts to be paid after sweethearts? Yes. Debts, old paper suppliers, debt, old printers. All that took my cars away. I sold my cars to pay some of those debts. So I didn't have anything. And it was really a tough call. It would have been nice to tell you the story of how I got into my first marriage, but then I would have to talk about a lot of people, and I don't think I have their permission to talk about that publicly. Otherwise, I would have told you the story. But anyway, I got into this second marriage, and that was also crisis reading, like you rightly mentioned. At the initial stage, I was moving from one crisis to the other. These days, when I tell people my stories, some people tell me it can't be true. They think they are made up, because these things just happened one after the other, and that this second one actually landed me at the Zone 2 police station in detention at that time. Yes, I was detained, and thank God again for people like Dele Momodu, Dele Alake, Ibe Kachiku, who stepped in at that time to bring me out of that problem. But the good thing about it is that today, the same woman that I went into a relationship with, that landed me in that police problem and almost took my life, is still the same woman with me today, 23 years after. Yeah.
The allegation that time was that you snatched another man's wife. Was that the exact thing that happened?
Well, that is the way it appeared at that time, but and that's why I said I did not want to tell the story, because if I tell the story, I will be intruding into the private lives of a lot of people. That is what it seemed, but that is not what it was.
Okay.
Yes.
So, all right. So,
what it seemed.
Okay. So, how did you eventually wriggle out of that marital mess or marital issue?
Well, when that crisis happened and the woman who is my wife today had to leave her own marriage, I had an option to either stay with her or to walk away from it all. But I thought about it. Her marriage had collapsed largely because of me, and I would just not be able to live in my skin if I abandoned her after that. That's on my own part, on my own side.